Samsung's Galaxy Note range has been a surprise star in the mobile world. When it first launched, there was laughter about its size and how absurd it looked when making phone calls. 4 years later, and the Note 4 arrives looking sleeker than ever and with one of the best specifications of any smartphone. So what do you get in this package? Well, compared to the previous model, it looks a lot better. There's now a metal surround, which has been painted in the colour to match your device. It's also shaped differently now, which makes it look better and sets it apart from phones like the Galaxy S5 and the LG G3. The Note 4 has one of the best screens on the market too, with a high resolution of 1440 by 2560, and it does look amazing. It's an AMOLED, so the colours are bright and vivid and the resolution of the on-screen fonts looks amazingly sharp with no nasty juddering on their edges. You can't make out the individual pixels either, as you would expect. Now, high-resolution screens can have an impact on battery life, but we were pleased to see that the Note 4 doesn't suffer unduly with this issue. Despite its larger size, the Note isn't as unwieldy as you might think. There are times when you need two hands, but for managing this, Samsung includes a mode which allows you to reduce the size of certain apps. And that allows you to view them much as if they were on a smaller phone. The Note will always be a big phone, but with its size as an asset rather than a hindrance. The camera is improved over the previous model too, at least in terms of spec, but the results aren't miles better. Don't worry if that sounds negative, the camera on the Note 3 was great, especially in good light, and the same is true here. The front-facing camera is still a bit underwhelming though. It might be fine for video calls, but those wanting high-quality selfies might be better off looking elsewhere. Still, if selfies are the only reason you're buying this phone, it probably isn't the right handset for you. Samsung has improved the usefulness of the heart rate sensor too. Now, in addition to monitoring your pulse, it's possible to tell you how your O2 saturation is doing. This is a measurement that's often taken in hospitals, but we have a vague feeling that if there was anything wrong with yours, you'd be collapsed in a heap on the floor. More useful perhaps is the UV sensor, which will tell you how much harmful UV light is reaching you from the sun. There's also a stress test, which measures your heart rate and checks for fluctuations over time. The most stress you'll suffer though is from failed readings from the monitors, which need your finger to be properly aligned in order to work. Also frustrating is the fingerprint scanner. It's never been a particularly strong point for Samsung, and that remains the case here. The idea is good, and the functionality, like paying for things with PayPal, is very handy, but the process of getting the phone to accept scanned fingerprints isn't as easy as we'd hope, and it's far less reliable than the sensor on Apple's iPhone. Most of this comes down to the requirement to scan your finger rather than just to hold it still. The performance of the Qualcomm Snapdragon 805 is impressive. Gamers will have no problem extracting the performance they need from this device. There's also 3 gigs of RAM as standard, which is better than LG's G3, which in the UK only has 2 gigs of RAM. Samsung has also updated the phone's storage capacity to 32 gig too. You can also upgrade it with a microSD card, taking it to over 128 gigabytes. You can also swap and replace the battery easily too. One frustration is that Samsung doesn't include a wireless charging back for the phone in the box. You have to buy your own if you want to use it with a wireless charger. This is bothersome because the functionality to charge in this way is included with so many other smartphones, and we'd love to see it here. The Note 4 remains a truly remarkable phone. If you're looking to supersize your mobile and enjoy all the perks that brings, we can't think of better.